forever. Shipwreck Beads.
Shipwreck Beads.
Hi, my name's Carol. I'm with Shipwreck Beads, and I'm here with Beth today, and I'm going to show her and you how to make a bracelet. So we're going to start with a cable strand beading wire, 0.018, and the tools we're going to be using are crimping plier, needle nose pliers, our wire cutters, and then we're using crimp tubes and a toggle clasp. People's wrist measurements vary quite a bit. There are some standards, but if you're making a custom bracelet, then there's no reason not to make it fit to your comfort level. Mm-hmm. And so what you want to do is take a measurement of your wrist, and then having it where what's best for you is in terms of how snug you want your bracelet or how loose you want a bracelet. You also want to take into account the size of the beads, because if you're using large beads, that's going to take up some space. Okay. Yours measures about 6 3/4, and our clasp is just under an inch, so we're going to be looking at making a bracelet that's going to be about 6 1/4 inches. We're going to want to pull enough cable strand off of here to allow a couple inches on each end to finish with the crimping bead. Okay. So we're going to cut a section off and grab a crimp tube and slide that on there, and then either end of your clasp, run that back through your crimp tube and snug that up close to the edge so you've got a minimal amount of wire showing, but not so tight that you don't get movement. Okay. Okay. Then we're going to take our crimping pliers. Crimping pliers have two stations or two locations to use on this. The one closest to my hand is a half moon shape. That's the one you're going to use first. Mm-hmm. The one farthest from my hand up at the top is the one that's going to actually fold that half moon over. Okay. So you put your crimp tube in there, bringing that down firmly. Mm-hmm. And then we're going to turn that sideways so that our half moon is facing up or down, and bring that around again, and you can see that that gives a nice rounded shape to it, a very finished look, and it's also very, very secure. Okay. Now most of the time I recommend that we slide a bead on or two to cover that little piece that's hanging on there. In this case we're using coral beads and pearl beads, and these are all hand drilled. They're very, very small holes, and we're not going to be able to get this through there. Oh. We could go with a lighter cable strand, mm-hmm. But a bracelet really needs to have some strength to it so that if you catch it on something, it's not going to just break on you. So in this case, we're going to take the wire cutters and just trim that flush to the crimp bead. I see. And then we're going to start stringing in any pattern that you might choose. I really like these coral and pearls together. It's elegant yet casual.
I think it's very pretty.
So at this point you would just design however you wanted to have the beads on there. And what I've got is one here that's to the finished length that you want for your bracelet. Okay. And I'm going to show you how the other end is attached. Okay. So you bring on your crimp tube, and then we're going to slide the other end of the toggle clasp on there. Mm-hmm. And you can see why I recommend that we have a little extra length, because if you were working with something very, very short, it'd be very frustrating. Oh yeah. Go back through your crimp tube, and in this case, since they won't fit through the hole of the bead, we're going to go outside the bead. Mm-hmm. And one way to get this snugged, you can do it with your fingers, and that works, but sometimes this little wire just doesn't want to hold together very well, mm-hmm. doesn't want to cooperate. So if you use your tool, and this just takes a little bit of practice, mm-hmm. and you can see how I'm bringing that wire through there, mm-hmm. but it's still leaving a little bit of a gap. Okay. Then we go back to our crimping plier, using the bottom section first, turning it on its side and using the top section. And if you need to round it up, you can kind of go around it. Using our wire cutter, we're going to cut that as flush as we can. And here you go. We have the finished bracelet. Yeah, that looks great. That looks great. So you think you can handle this?
I think so.
Make your own bracelet?
I think this is great.
Wonderful, wonderful. Well, I hope you had fun, and I'm sure all of you at home will be able to do this very easily as well.
Beads are cool, beads are fun. Explore the treasures, discover Shipwreck Beads.